Hey everybody, welcome to Ash Talk here on Triple S Podcasts. I'm your host, Ash Ryan. I'm going to have the same trouble with words I had last week, apparently. Last week being our very first episode of this show, where I tackle some of the news of the week and fun and interesting topics that you have been talking about, our community that you've been talking about on our Discord server. And I made the mistake of having some coffee just a moment ago, so my throat is super dry. Why do I do this to myself? This addiction is going to get the best of me. This addiction to caffeine, that is. Anyway, welcome. Sentinel Cheese, awake for the podcast for once. Well, welcome. Glad to have you here. And hello to everybody else who is active in the live chat. Sorry, I needed to cough and have a swig of water there. And you don't need to hear those sound effects in your ears, especially if you're using headphones. That's disgusting. I really hate those noises. I really do. And it drives me crazy when I'm recording and... an issue that those of us who record audio for a living, just the conditions in your mouth they really affect the audio quality. And when I get that mouth click, it drives me crazy. This is a pleasant topic, isn't it? So today we're going to talk about Halo Infinite. So I just got finished playing about 90 minutes of Halo Infinite after the campaign unlocked, and it inevitably took about a half hour to download the update. It's faster if you already have the Halo multiplayer version of the game installed, which is free. You can just go get it. If you have that installed, it doesn't take as long to download and play the campaign, obviously. So I sort of had that preloaded, and then I downloaded the campaign. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Ubisoft going whaling with their in-game NFTs, and we're going to talk about scalping and whether or not new laws can stop scalpers. We're going to talk about some other fun stories as well. Plus, of course, memes of the week, which was the best segment, the hottest segment from last week's show. Sorry, Pollies. That's why I'm muted. For the coughing and the drinking of the water. So welcome to the show, and well, let's jump into it. And of course, I want to engage in the live chat. Please do send it. Put your comments, thoughts, and questions there, and I'll get to as many of those as I can throughout the show. So, what's going on with? Well, you know what? Let's start with Halo Infinite. So, Halo Infinite, I loaded it up, and it was like stepping back in time. Halo 1 and Halo 2 are big parts of my gaming history. They were, I wouldn't say they're the first really good FPSs I played, but they are, there were significant moments in gaming history. Like Halo 1 just really upped the bar on what a first-person shooter could be. Had a great story, great atmosphere, just really was a masterpiece in its time on the original Xbox. And so that was a lot of our... it was one of the first games we played together, Subsidian and I, playing Halo 1, both the campaign and then, of course, multiplayer. And he still refuses to admit how good I got at that game against him. But loading up Halo Infinite was a bit like stepping back in time. And I don't say that in an effort to say that... I mean, obviously, there is a nostalgia factor there, but... Halo's been an ongoing franchise for years now. And, there's, of course, Halo 2 was the last Halo game where I played the entire campaign. Halo 3, 4, and 5, I've played bits of, but I'm actually a little behind on the story. I'm going to have to go find one of those YouTube videos that recaps the story, because I'm a little behind on what the hell's going on. But still, thoroughly enjoyed jumping into it, getting back into the shoes of Master Chief, seeing from some familiar characters and alien species. And it really felt familiar, but of course a massive step up technology-wise. And like I said, haven't really played much of Halo 3, 4, and 5, so I'm kind of getting back into this franchise after some time. But it was just loading up the menu and hearing that theme song. I was like, yeah, this is good. This feels right. We're gaming now. We're gaming. Anyway, stepped into the campaign. Of course, didn't really know what was going on, but I knew I was Master Chief and knew sort of the immediate story and that it was time to kill some aliens. And so that's what I did. And it was a lot of fun. It was Halo through and through. Big, vast environments with that familiar alien architecture and familiar weapons, plus some new ones I hadn't encountered before. And I meant to look up when the grappling hook came, when that entered the series. I don't think this isn't the first game in the series that has the grappling hook, is it? I know Halo 2 did not have it, so it was new for me, the grappling hook, but it really added something. I liked it a lot. Really added something to the maneuverability, the movement, the combat, because it's a great combat tool too. Immediately figured out how you can grapple on, use it to stun enemies or latch onto them, and get pulled in for a quick melee attack. So, really good. Really enjoyed the combat. Felt smooth. It just felt like Halo. Of course, and now I saw my share of brutes, and they did not look they did not look like Craig the Brute. They looked really good. So overall was very happy with it. Wish I'd had more time to go through it before jumping into the show here today. If you spent some time playing it, let me know what you think. If you have played the campaign at all, and if you're playing the multiplayer, I want to know how you feel as well. I really haven't been. I haven't been interested in getting into the multiplayer personally. It's not the reason that I enjoy Halo. Polly's is saying the hook. This is the first time that the grappling hook is in Halo. Well, it's a welcome addition, and it's also, it's really interesting how that's a new aspect that they would have had to consider in level design, because suddenly you can grapple to ceilings, you can grapple really high up on walls, and you can get to it just changes how you're able to move around the level. And so they would have had to account for that in the level design, just to make sure you're not getting areas that you're not supposed to be or falling out of bounds in random weird ways. So really appreciated that. I think it's the single thing that I think added the most in terms of the new things that I encountered. There's some new weapons. There's some new I haven't encountered any new enemies in terms of like alien species or anything like that, and I don't know if there will be any or not. Don't feel like it needs it. I'm in the intro missions though. Still in the intro missions, haven't gotten to the open world part of the game, and so I'm curious to see what that's like. So I'll probably have more to talk about with this next week. But my initial impressions are very good. The reviews that I've been seeing are fairly good. I'm actually just gonna we're talking about pre-release reviews. I don't know if Steam's gonna have any user reviews yet. So I'll just quickly load up the store page here. Is this for the campaign? No, this is the multiplayer. The multiplayer's got mostly positive reviews on Steam. Where is the campaign page? Take me there. The campaign has very positive reviews. 314 reviews. Very positive. And it's only been out for a few hours. So, of course, how many people have really gotten really, really deep into it and gotten through, into the meat of the game? Well, obviously not a lot, unless some of these people had pre-release copies. This game really snuck up on me. I thought I had a few more days, and it was yesterday. I was like, holy crap, it's out like tomorrow. I better get myself set up to play that. Really enjoying that. If you would like to see some Halo Infinite content on the channel, let me know. And we'll see. We'll see if we can make that happen. Still quite a bit of some other. Yeah, I'm trying to decide right now what to focus on. I think Halo will be a good one. Halo will be a good one to do. Probably do some guides and stuff for that. But tell me your impressions if you've been playing the game. Okay, so have you heard about this Ubisoft debacle? Oh, wait, one other thing I wanted to say about Halo Infinite. So they the only thing that's really felt weird is that it it feels like you're like in the multiplayer user interface the whole time, even when you're playing the single player campaign, because the base game is the multiplayer game, and then the campaign, which you pay full AAA price for, is actually a DLC for the base game, which is kind of weird, but fine. It's totally fine. But when you actually get into the game and you're playing single player, it's like the way the interface works is it's like you're playing a multiplayer game on your own. And that just feels weird. I don't like it. It's a very superficial criticism. But when I went to quit out of the game after playing for about 90 minutes just in the single player campaign, what it said, oh, this'll end your session for all players. I was like, it's like that John Travolta meme. Like, where? What? I'm the only one here. I'm the only one playing. This is single player. What's going on here? So I realized that's because it's sort of embedded into the multiplayer game. It's like an add-on to the multiplayer game, which is, I think, the opposite of how it usually works. And I don't know if this was a symptom of them having to, wanting to get the multiplayer out first, and therefore needing to arrange for the single player, the campaign version, to be an add-on, a download, or if it's because their primary focus is the multiplayer, which, by the way, I think I have some memes about it later on. But the multiplayer has been getting, I think, like gameplay wise, it's very well reviewed. Gameplay wise, I think people are happy with it. Some people have issues with the battle pass and things like that, and I don't really know. I haven't dug too deeply into that. So again, let me know what you think. If you are listening live or after the fact, you can leave comments below. Hello, Niv. Yeah, so leave comments below or let me know in the live chat what you think about all of this. And of course, do slam that like button if you appreciate this content. This is one of several shows we're offering here on Triple S Podcasts. A little bit later this week, Maximum News will be back. And, well, I guess it's those two right now. Augmented reality is kind of on a bit of a hiatus at the moment. We're trying to figure out what to do with it. But you get me on Wednesdays, and then you get Sybe and Max on Maximum News. And then Sybe and Moon still stream on the Triple S League channel on Saturday mornings. Lots of live content here with the Triple S League. So, Ubisoft not satisfied with just creating quality open world games that are rich and deep and not at all big open surface level worlds with nothing going on in them. They've decided that whaling is where the money's at. Gotta get in on that blubber market. That's our take on it anyway. So Ubisoft announced this thing called Ubisoft Quartz, which is it's in beta right now, and it's a system by which they're going to put playable NFT items and assets into their games, and they're starting with what game are they starting with? Ghost Recon Breakpoint is what they're starting with. Tomorrow it rolls out, and basically, so NFTs. We talked about NFTs last week, and I've done a bit of research since to try and understand what the heck these things actually are and how they relate to video games and what exactly an NFT asset in a game is. And basically, it's a digital asset that's tied to a non-fungible token, which is what NFT stands for, on the blockchain. It's blockchain technology, which is what cryptocurrency also is based off of. And the idea is that these are unique items, unique one-of-a-kind items that can be only owned by one person. In theory. In theory. Now, how they actually intend to make that happen, or what the difference is between this and like other games that might register a unique item, I don't know. Is it the prestige of being an NFT and being on the blockchain? It's a bizarre concept, because this has been this is something that is being utilized in the digital art world, as people want to own pieces of digital art. And so some artists are starting to sell, and it started with like these CryptoKitties images. So like somebody owns this CryptoKitty image, or could own this CryptoKitty, this little cartoon. Someone can own this. And then in theory they're like the owner, or one owner of a limited number of copies of this image. What's the problem? Well, you can see this image right here. It's on your screen right now. It's on this website. You can screen cap it. This image is not a physical thing. Creating a piece of digital art like this, it's like if you made a doodle and releasing that onto the internet is like immediately making 1 million photocopies, taking them up in a helicopter, and then just showering them down over the city. They're everywhere, right? They're everywhere. So how do you own this? How do you actually own this image? Well, it gets registered as an NFT, and then you can buy that NFT that is attached to this image, and then you are the owner of the image. You own the image. You don't actually have it in your hands. You might have a copy of it on the hard drive, but it's entirely symbolic. So how people are actually buying into this is beyond me. Maybe somebody needs to explain this to me, but they even say here, if all of this sounds bizarre, that's because it is. The idea of paying for the symbolic ownership of a digital image that lives somewhere on the web, because it's not like you get the only copy of the image on a thumb drive or something and you own that. No, the image is out there. It's out there. There are copies of it everywhere. The ownership of it through an NFT is entirely symbolic. Anyway, so symbolic ownership of a digital image that lives somewhere on the web and can be captured on a screenshot or right-click download within seconds is so alien that it seems either idiotic or ironic. Yet NFT proponents purport to be solving exactly that problem, the near impossibility of monetizing digital artwork. As a mechanism, NFTs make it possible to assign value to digital art, which opens a door to a sea of possibilities for a medium that is unbridled by physical limitations, says Noah Davis, a specialist in post-war and contemporary art at Christie's. Okay. So these NFTs have value because people are assigning value to them. So, and some people are shelling out hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars for these digital art assets, which are anything from pictures to videos, clips from live streams. You could I could register this thumbnail here as an NFT and sell it to whoever would want to buy it. Anyone wants to pay me $500,000 for this? I mean, I'm open to that, but I have my doubts. I just have my doubts. Anyway, but the ownership is entirely symbolic. Like, there's no actual. You don't have the file. The file is just out there. It's everywhere. Anyone can look at it. Anyone can watch it. But you're the owner. You're the owner if you own that NFT. Or, if you, like I said, there can be limited copies of something available. So people are like comparing it to real artwork, where it's like, oh, there might be, there's a limited number of collectibles, say. Actually, yeah, let's shift the metaphor to talking about collectibles, because that's a little more akin to what we're talking about here when we are looking at NFTs in a game system. So they want to have a blockchain-powered NFT cosmetics system. So people in their games, starting with Ghost Recon Breakpoint, will own unique cosmetics, and there will be multiple copies of some of them, but they'll each have a serial number printed on them, which is just hilarious. So you can have the number 6 helmet, and it's probably not worth as much as the number 1 helmet, but they're also setting up a system where then you can buy and sell these things in game. So what's the point of this? I mean, obviously, so they announced this as a play to earn concept as opposed to buying these things. But I have exactly zero faith that they're not eventually just going to be selling these things outright. But again, what is the actual point of this? According to their strategic innovation lab, they say our long-term efforts led us to understand how blockchain's decentralized approach could genuinely make players stakeholders of our games in a way that is also sustainable for our industry, not for the environment. Am I right? Placing back into their hands the value they generate through the time they spend, the items they buy, or the content they create online. Ubisoft Quartz is the first building block in our ambitious vision for developing a true metaverse. I don't know what that means, because presumably, I mean, if you acquire one of these assets in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, that only exists in the game, right? Like, it just doesn't exist somewhere else. It's only valuable as long as people are playing the game. As soon as nobody's playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint anymore, that NFT becomes worthless, right? Unless they somehow port it over to another game. I don't know. You can use, let's just port it over so you can use your Ghost Recon Breakpoint night vision helmet in Assassin's Creed. That'll go over well. So, yeah. Looking through live chat here, it's looking like most of you have the same reaction that most of the internet had. Their announcement video for Ubisoft Quartz, they unlisted it shortly after publishing. If I understand correctly, they published it and then unlisted it because it was getting blasted, I think is what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And one of the top comments, actually the top comment right now, is, "You are so lucky people can no longer see dislike numbers." Well, actually I can. I got a little nifty little browser plugin that lets me see the dislike numbers. The video is just shy of 150,000 views right now. It has 1,000 likes. That's less than 1%. That's less than 0.75% of likes. 1,000 likes for almost 150,000 views. That's all you would see if you don't have this plugin, and all you could see was what YouTube wants you to see, which is that, oh, it has 1,000 likes. I mean, comparing that to the number of views shows you that it's not well liked, but unless you got this plugin, you can't see the 23,000 dislikes that the video has. 23 dislikes for every like. Of course, the point with hiding the dislike count, it was to protect us small creators, right? It was to protect us small creators. So people are not happy, and I just want to read some of the comments. The top comments on this video, if YouTube would stop hiding them from me. Okay. So, again, the top comment is that you are so lucky people cannot see dislike numbers. Second comment is, to me, this is a blatant signal that you're just milking the Ghost Recon franchise for literally every cent. For literally every cent while putting minimal effort into the actual game itself. not playing a GR game in the future if this is the level of degeneracy in your team. You took a solid franchise and made it a laughing stock. Somebody quoted the YouTube thing that I just said. We hid dislikes to protect the feelings of small creators. Right. Imagine if Ubisoft actually put some thought on making games that people like instead of endlessly trying to print money. Imagine this being your earliest memory of gaming instead of the countless hours that we put into our favorite games before the future sucked. Ubisoft, once again giving us something we didn't ask for, don't want, and won't enjoy. And I think one of the most telling comments is this. The most ridiculous thing about this to me is that as far as I can tell, none of these functions actually need NFTs to work. Team Fortress 2 had unique item IDs, item owner histories, trading, and seeded weapon skins with randomized appearances. Yep. In these troubling times of uncertainty and change, I, for one, am so grateful for Ubisoft remaining the consistent, stalwart bastion of dogshit decision-making, from the smallest game choices to the largest corporate maneuvers. Thank you, Ubisoft. It's good to know you will always be comically terrible at everything you do. There are so many good comments here. This will be the last one. I don't even need to see the dislikes anymore. You could just feel them. Yes, you could just feel them. You could just feel them. So crazy. And speaking of comments, I'm going to turn to what you are all saying in the live chat right now. Sentinel Cheese is saying NFTs in gaming is essentially a plot to attract investors to drop a huge chunk of cash to increase payouts for themselves, while players get to chase something they have to grind for and never get it. It'll turn out to be a huge disappointment once players move away from these games. Yeah, I mean, again, it's something of symbolic value, and really, what is the point of having it be an NFT anyway? As that other commenter pointed out, you can do all this stuff without going on the energy hungry blockchain system. It seems like there's something about I feel like there's some sort of snooty prestige that goes along with, I own an NFT. That's what it's looking like to me as it is. 1 second, folks. I apologize for that. I had to take a big swig of water. I'm actually just getting over being sick. I had a COVID test on Monday, and it was negative, thankfully. It was negative, but I'm just getting over being sick, and so I'm running out of breath fast, and my throat is drying out. But I'm here, and we're going to push through this. Okay. So the problem with NFTs, according to Sentinel Cheese in our chat, is not apparent right now, but the context behind it is create assets and games on limited supply to inflate their prices like in real life. Yes, exactly. That's what they're trying to do. Because I mean, is this higher security than an ordinary system of doing this, or a system that other games have used in the past? Because really, I mean, how long before modders are ripping these models or just copying them and distributing them? Is Ubisoft going to have any easier of a time clamping down on that than they would if they just used, again, like a Team Fortress 2 system? I don't know the technical ins and outs, but I have to think, I don't think so. Because just like I talked about with this cat picture, if you own this, anyone can copy this and have it on their hard drive. But you, as the NFT owner, you have symbolic ownership of it, but there's nothing you can do about all the copies that are out there. But yes, exactly. So I suppose the idea behind having it be an NFT is that it'll artificially inflate the value of these things, and people will pump hours and hours and hours and hours into the game to try to acquire one, or maybe they'll fork out money to buy one from somebody, and there's no way Ubisoft is not getting a cut of that. I mean, Let's be realistic here. IX says this is entirely greed. Exactly, and people can smell it. It's being portrayed as we're doing something, we're trying to offer you an experience. We're trying to offer you something amazing. It's like, actually, well, let's mute this. Hold on. Why do these websites have to use their own proprietary video players? Oh, wait, here it is. A new experience designed for Ubisoft players allows you to collect the first playable and energy-efficient Ubisoft NFTs. Their name is Digits. Real creative name there, guys. IX says, the only reason I would ever get into NFTs is if I would have to launder money. Oh, well, I guess that is a reason, not one I endorse, but that's a reason. Niv Aussie, don't talk to my sauce like that. Sorry, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Once the metaverse gets big and many people engage in it, corpos will look to exploit it and make themselves all the cash while leaving users chasing a void. Anyway, right, exactly. I mean, you're all of sort of a similar mind to, I think, the rest of the internet on this. I think even those who don't understand NFTs, and I put myself still very much in that category. I know more than I did yesterday because I did a bunch of reading on it, but I'm still far from an expert. But even those of us who didn't really understand what NFTs were, we could smell a rat with this. Like, there's no way they'd be investing in this if there was no return on investment for them. Like, it is corporate greed through and through. There's no reason that they needed to go with NFTs on this. All right, so I think we have covered that. But interestingly, Steam has banned games that use NFTs, cryptocurrency, or anything built on the blockchain. Epic says no, it's fine. But I think with Valve, with Steam, it's a case of them saying, well, you're distributing something that has a digital asset that has a value, which means it's like trading money in the game, which is, I believe, against their terms of service. That's the impression I get as far as why Steam is banning it. But again, that's debatable. I mean, what's the value of anything? What's the value of a Bitcoin? It only has value because a whole bunch of people agree that it has value, right? Same with your government currency. You have $100 in your bank account. That has value because it's kind of a generally agreed on value, and that value can change if the economy, if something significant changes about the economy. So the value that these symbolic assets have are it's very not arbitrary, but it's definitely subjective's not the right word either, but it can change. And again, like, a diamond is only worth something because we've all agreed that it's worth something. If we all agreed that diamonds are crap, I mean, come on, it's just carbon. That's all it is. Eventually it's going to be graphite. Well, then they wouldn't be selling for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. They'd be selling for a few cents at the dollar store, right? All right, we all despise scalpers, especially scalpers who buy up our hardware to sell at a premium. But politicians in the US, and they're also trying this in the UK, probably other countries as well, although I haven't verified that, they want to bring in laws to clamp down on scalping. And I'm bringing this in mostly as as a point of discussion, is this something that the government should be getting involved in? And if they do, is it actually going to help? I mean, there is a consumer protection aspect to it, but will it actually do anything? This writer doesn't. Oh, by the way, this is hilariously named the Stopping Grinch Bots Act in the U.S. So these people who use bots to buy up all the PS5s right before Christmas, they're calling them Grinch bots because they're stealing Christmas. Hilarious. And yes, it is named after the Dr. Seuss character. Anyway, they're aiming to stop scalpers from using bots to quickly purchase items that are in demand to be sold on for higher prices. And so it's specifically the use of bots that is being targeted here. At first, I was wondering, like, well, if I got lucky and bought 3 PS5s and, kept one and gave one to my brother and then just decided to sell one, would I be guilty of scalping under this law? But no, apparently it's using bots to get around, the store, the systems in place in online stores so that, these scalpers can buy just hundreds of them at a time. Now, this writer here at Digital Trends doesn't think it's going to work. Even if it makes its way through the legislative chain in time for Christmas, it will do nothing to prevent scalpers from using bots to buy consoles and graphics cards. It's a bill that gives the FTC authority to react to the use of those bots, not to prevent them in the first place. So I'm not guilty if I just have one of these bots on my computer, which I don't, for the record. But if I have one of these, if I'm in possession of one of these bots, that's not illegal. But so you can get punished after the fact, but there's no preventative measures that can be taken right at this point. Someone can still buy up all the GPUs and PS5s, and there's nothing that can be done about that. Like, again, even if, I don't know what the penalties under this law would be, but, even if there's a huge fine, would it be enough to to dissuade somebody from doing this and potentially making a whole bunch of money? Or is it even are they even going to be able to track down the people that do this? Like, I don't know how it works, if they can follow all the packages to their destination address. Again, these are areas that I'm not an expert in, but I wanted to bring this up as a discussion point. Is this something that governments should be involved in, though? Or is it something that the companies themselves that run these stores should be combating? And why are there not, why can't they just stop these scalpers? Why can't they recognize that, there's a whole bunch of requests coming in that are clearly fake? Someone explain to me why that's a thing. Why it's so difficult to stop these bots. I mean, I'm constantly going to websites where it's like, prove that you're not a robot kind of a thing. So they're obviously getting around that somehow, I suppose. But Microsoft tried this kind of a system, this purchase pilot system, to avoid Xbox Series X scalping. And when was this published? Hang on. So this is from earlier this year. I'd be interested to know how well this worked. So you can sign up to buy, I guess it's some sort of... The console purchase pilot gives budding buyers the chance to reserve and purchase an Xbox Series X or Series S console via the Xbox Insider Hub for Xbox One and Windows 10. While users can sign up for the program via Xbox or PC, one caveat is that successful applicants can only buy one of the new consoles using an Xbox One console. The transaction cannot be made from a PC, web browser, phone, or any other model of Xbox. Okay, so you had to buy the next Xbox using your current Xbox. Yeah, I guess that kind of would limit scalping, but limit like if you in your attempt to limit scalping, you're limiting how people can pre-buy one of these things. And I don't know. Anyway, let's read some of your comments here. So, Sentinel Cheese. I support the idea of crypto and the whole blockchain thing, but this NFT is kind of a gray area. On one side, it'll help improve digital footprint of unique online-only stuff, but investors can exploit the average Joe to spend his money to buy something that he has no clue if that digital good will be worth a lot of money or not, like the stock market. Well, and that's part of the problem. People are pumping a whole bunch of money into these things now on the promise that they're going to be worth more in the future, but if it's just some kind of a fad, which I suspect that it may be, again, you can't eat an NFT, right? It only has value if we all agree that it has value. And so if the market changes and the bubble bursts on that, then yeah, you're out all that money. Let's see. Ugh, I hate that we've come to a point where we have to pass laws to try and stop an act that involves wealthy logistics lobbyists. And obviously it's not going to work, yeah. IX says every bit against the scalpers helps. And I mean, again, that's true, and there may be a role. I mean, we're getting into kind of a political philosophy discussion, and I just want to kind of stay on the edge of that. But there's a role that the government traditionally plays in protecting consumers. But yeah, they're applying a punitive measure. There's no prevention happening. I think the prevention, if you're going to prevent these kinds of things from happening, it's the actual store owners that have to come up with a solution for it. The government's not going to do that. So this stuff is going to just keep happening until the people who run the stores and sell this stuff come up with a solution for bot scalping. Okay, the time is flying by today. Holy crap, how are we already 45 minutes into the show? Time for memes of the week. I'm going to go through some of my favorite memes from the Discord server this week. The ones that, when I was scrolling through, either made me laugh or gave me a moment to stop and think. I've got some other sort of funny side stories that I'll also get to. Are you sure Yes, I'm sure I want to open 15 tabs. Wow, I had 15 tabs in that folder. All right, so this one gave me this one made me laugh out loud. Why are men only nice to you for 3 weeks? That's the end of the free trial. Free trials. This one is huge for some reason. Okay, here we go. This one I just found, excellent observation. So, Superman, why are you always so tired? Because I can see through my eyelids. Poor Superman, not getting any sleep because he has X-ray vision. And can see through his eyelids. Oh, that's funny. Clever comment. So, here's one that's rather apt. Guy standing there with a top hat. I have more of the thing you like. And there's a crowd that says, yay, I love the thing. I can't wait for the thing. Woohoo. Somebody standing behind the guy with the top hat says, I do not like the thing. And you are a bad person if you do not address the fact that I do not like the thing. And Top Hat Man says, okay, I've made changes to the thing. And the crowd says, well, that's no longer what we want. We're going somewhere else. Then Top Hat Oh, yeah. Now, oh, I didn't notice this before. Now it's a thing. Now it's a thing. And he turns around and turns around to the person with the megaphone and says, will you buy the thing? And the person says, yeah, I never really had any real interest in the thing. That just hits a little too close to home, does it not? Stupid Oblivion Horse, it's all your fault we have shitty unfinished games. Ah, yes, back to where it all started. And now we have Ubisoft NFTs. Thanks! Thanks, Bethesda. Thanks, Todd. You can sell... What was the quote that he said? People will buy it? No. You can sell anything or people can buy it? Anyway, yeah. Look where we are now. Bethesda's trying to dig themselves out of a hole, and Ubisoft is putting NFTs in their games. Thanks, stupid Oblivion Horse. Okay, so I'm not going to describe this one. I'm just going to let the picture speak for itself. If you're just listening in the background or something, you're just going to have to look at the video. And then maybe go find one of those memory erasers from Men in Black or whatever. This one's not at all gaming related, but I thought it was hilarious. The Christmas trees and the bird in the nest trying to sleep. You monsters and your Christmas lights just won't let those poor birds get some sleep. Someone. Video games are shallow and full of violence. Video games. A pen isn't mightier than the sword. Pens do not do battle, nor swords poetry. Mighty is the hand that knows when to pick up the pen or pick up the sword. Honestly, this one I found very relatable just because the number of deep themes, I mean, yeah, you've got your games that are just... You just want to have some brainless fun. You know, I don't play Doom to get into a deeply philosophical state of mind, but the number of really well written games that have really made me stop and think about life and reality and things like that, morality. Like there's some really good ones, and they really are a true art form and a fantastic way of telling a story. So yeah, it's not. Some video games are shallow and full of violence. Some are deep and meaningful and also full of violence. So there you go. As an introvert, I relate to this very deeply. Are you busy on Friday? Me. That entirely depends on the rest of the information you're about to give me. I hate that moment where it's like, hey, are you busy on Friday? Wait, well, let me check my calendar, but what did you have in mind? Yeah, it's like, because if you just say, no, I'm not busy, then you're stuck doing whatever the person is asking for. This one makes more sense if you read it rather than see it, but I'm looking for a good book. Can you recommend me a good book? It's all spelled wrong. And the person recommends the Oxford English Dictionary. There you go. Kids these days will never know the struggle of downloading something from the internet with your estimated time left being 39 years. 39 years of downloading. Jeez, so yeah, if you started that download in 1995, it's still not done yet. But yeah, do you remember those days? Did anyone have to suffer through that? Of those days of the internet? I mean, first of all, dial-up. Second of all, browsers were crap. You needed a separate browser. There were no tabs. You needed a separate browser window for everything you were doing. Plus, if you closed the browser window, your download ended, and there was no resuming. And so it was just gone. And I don't know where it went, but it's just gone. Like, part of it must be on the hard drive somewhere, but it was just gone. Does anyone know the struggle? I know the struggle. I was there. I was very young, but I was there. Perfect posture doesn't exist. Oh, look at that. All these doctors and chiropractors telling us to sit up straight. But look at this man sitting in the shape of the Fibonacci spiral, or the golden spiral, whatever that's called, based on the Fibonacci sequence. It's that perfect ratio that you find all throughout nature. So next time someone tells you to sit up straight, you just point out you're sitting in golden posture. When you ask Santa for a puppy but accidentally write Satan, that child's gonna have a Merry Christmas. Is this like an actual painting someone made and then someone just is using it as a meme now? Can I buy this as an NFT? When someone asks me for directions for the city I've lived in my entire life. Yeah, so has this ever happened to you? Because, it's like when you're so familiar with something that it's all just intuitive. And I discovered this recently as I was writing some stuff that I was hired to write, just like directions for how to do certain things. And the things that I knew how to do intuitively were the hardest to write. The things that I actually had to go research how to do it, that was the easiest to write. Is this weird imbalance. But yeah, like when you're trying to explain, when you're like an expert at something, or you're really familiar with something, and then you're trying to explain to people how you do it, it's really tough. It can be really tough to explain it to someone who doesn't know anything about the thing you're doing. Time for a break. What is this sudden pain? Death, are you finally here? Oh, wait, no, it's gone. I can neither confirm nor deny that I am old enough to experience this on a semi-weekly basis. But the struggle is real. Remaster by publisher, remaster by mod community. And speaking of the mod community, what's going to happen with these NFTs? Like, first of all, I mean, some modder is just going to come along and make their own version of these NFT assets. And I mean, I don't know what systems are in place or how that can work with, the I don't know if you can get your modded assets into the online environment in a game like that, but yeah, where was I going with that? I had a thought, but now it's gone. Maybe a more apt comparison would be the Grand Theft Auto trilogy that just, they shut down the fan-made remaster of that and then released total crap that was a remaster of the mobile versions of the games. Like, what a joke that was. Let's see, just a few minutes left here. IX says, when someone asks for directions, point in the general direction of the destination, then run away. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, it's weird because it forces you to think. Like, you just know, like, oh, I drive about this far, and then when I see this, when you're at the intersection where you have to turn, and then you see, you just know the landmarks. It almost becomes automatic sometimes. And then if you do accidentally miss your turn, and then you're like, wait, where the hell am I? How do I get back? I can't do this. I have to reverse engineer what I just did. But yeah, then actually explaining to somebody, it's like, oh, you just go down to that street. Oh, well, how far is this street? Wait, how far is that? How many streets are there between here and there? I don't know. My brain just does it. I just sit back and turn the wheel whenever my brain tells me to. Okay. So we might have... Yeah, we got a bit of extra time here. No, I don't want that in a new Windows stupid browser. New World celebrates Christmas by getting players to grind tokens to please a big Yeti. I just wanted to read that headline. That's the whole reason why I included this story. It's the holiday of the winter convergence. Does that mean Christmas? In New World, which is marked by the snowfall and the northern lights. Of course, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without our jolly chum the Yeti. So those of you who are playing New World, let me know how that goes. I don't think I'm going to... I was going to show you something. There's a video in this article. It's just kind of a... It's a very charming video of Henry Cavill explaining that Warhammer and World of Warcraft are different things. And then Tom Holland is also on the show, and he asks if he can come over to Henry Cavill's house and play Warhammer, because apparently he's never played it before, but he thinks it sounds awesome. But what shocked me the most about this is that Tom Holland has a British accent. The kid is British? I had no idea. That shocked the hell out of me. They finally got him. Bowser is going to face 10 years in jail and pay $4.5 million in damages in Nintendo piracy case. Of course, we're not talking about Bowser, the King of the Koopas, nor are we talking about Doug Bowser, the president of Nintendo America. This is a different guy with the last name Bowser. What's his first name? Hold on. Major Victory, Gary Bowser. Yeah, so Gary Bowser was a member of this hacking group that he was apparently... He pled guilty to 2 counts: conspiracy to circumvent technological measures and to traffic in circumvention devices. And he also... he was arrested in the Dominican Republic and extradited to the U.S. to face 11 felony counts, including wire fraud and money laundering. So he's definitely into... He is definitely into some illegal stuff. But I specifically wanted to talk about this idea of modding hardware and whether or not that should be illegal. And Nintendo's gone after him for the fact that the hardware that he and some of his other colleagues were creating were specifically designed to aid with piracy. So, and he was also running an illegal ROM site and stuff like that. So he was doing some illegal stuff. Like, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying he was innocent by any stretch. But here's the thing. Like, if I own a Nintendo Switch, should I not be allowed to mod that in any way I like? Or buy a device from somebody who, that can mod the thing? I mean, whether or not I do something illegal with that modification is a different, it's like, is it illegal to own a lockpicking kit, or is it illegal to, or is it just illegal what you do with it? If you use it to break and enter, that kind of a thing. So this I also just wanted to bring up as kind of a discussion point. And now we don't have a lot of time. I got to wrap up the stream here right away. But please, if you're listening, put your opinion on that in the comments below. I'd be very curious to read that. Maybe we'll touch on this next week. But I'd also be interested in discussing it on the Discord server if anyone's interested in doing that. By the way, check out the Discord server. If you're not a part of our Discord server, find the link to that in the description below. You can find lots of awesome people there. Find people to game with, talk about things like this with. So would encourage you to check it out. Become part of the Triple S Legion. IX says, is that supposed to be pronounced 9 or is it IX? So IX or 9 says, Chad Cavill. Yes, absolutely. And most companies make it as hard as it is to mod hardware, unfortunately. Well, yes, they make it, and that's fine. You can make it difficult to mod something. You can make it difficult to have someone perform repairs on their own car if you want. I mean, right to repair is another debate that needs to be had, right? But it's one thing if they put a sticker on there and say that says, if you break the sticker, come on, words, slap myself in the face. your warranty is voided if you open this up and you break this sticker, right? That's sure. That's fine. If it's like, okay, you opened it up, you mucked around with it, so, it's on you if you broke it. That's fine. Or if they want to make it difficult for you to do that, again, also fine. In terms of what they're legally allowed to do. But to sell me a product and then say, you can't do certain things with it. Like, if I buy a Nintendo Switch and I want to throw it on my basement floor and smash it, it's my property, right? They shouldn't make that illegal. Why would they make it illegal to say, well, you can, why would they say it should be illegal for you to modify the hardware in some way? It's one thing to, if I modify it and I'm pirating games, obviously that's illegal, and rightly so. But for them to say, well, you're modding it in a way that is you could potentially use for some illegal some illegal activity, and so we're going to make even the potential of that happening illegal. That seems like a step too far to me. That's my opinion on the matter. And I'm curious to hear what you all have to say about that as well. A couple more comments here before we wrap up. Niv Ozzy says, don't you know, you have to listen to the gracious Nintendo overlords. And besides, it's not a PC, so according to them people, it's a no. And IX says, don't you dare replace your thermal paste, consumer. Yeah, exactly. You got to pay us to do it. Sentinel Cheese says, it's almost like these companies are saying we shouldn't have ownership next. I wonder. I wonder. All right, everybody, that's the show for today. I hope that it was as scintillating as last week's. You all seem to really enjoy last week's show. Again, struggling a little bit because I'm just getting over being sick here, but really appreciate you all being here and joining me. And let me know in the Discord server what you want to talk about next week. We'll dive into some more topics, and we'll engage in the live chat as we did this week. Plus, of course, memes of the week will probably be a regular thing since you all loved that. So thank you so much for joining today. And again, comment down below your opinions about anything we talked about here today, or join the Discord server. We can have a discussion about it there. Slam that like button. Subscribe here on Triple S Podcasts and over on the Triple S League channel. And as always, this is Ash, and I will talk to you again very soon. See ya.